Hey guys, welcome to Interesting Video Wild Rift. So they're back with a Caitlyn updated complete guide, of course, for the latest patch. And Caitlyn's not the best ADC right now. I ranked her pretty low on my tier list, but I do think that there are spots where you can pick her. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the gameplay later. But for now, do check out her basic guide if you have not yet. I'll put it up in the cards above. That tells you her skills, leveling order tips and tricks, as well as a couple of combos. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the build. So taking a look at what all the top players are building, we have one on-hit build, but the other two are going for the energized build. The alternative to this is going for Bloodthirster, but the energized build has been better and has been basically the best build for quite a long time now. So with that, you want to go for Gluttonous Goose at the start for the early AD and Omnivamp. And then you start with Stormrazor, of course, for the AD, as well as dealing that bonus burst damage, very helpful in the early game, as well as also giving you the movement speed and slowing them down, which helps you, of course, to run them down or to run away. Then you, of course, have the Magnetic Blaster, giving you the extra range and attack speed. This, of course, helps you just land a lot of free poke, especially if you have your hit shot. This is going to be very, very helpful. And then, of course, standard, i.e. extra crit damage, as well as more reminder for the armor pen and grievous wounds. And last item is normally going to be defensive item slash whatever you kind of like. It could be a Runan's Hurricane as well, for example. But I put Maw as a default just because it gives you a lot of AD, and if you're against mages that are fed, works out really well. So for the runes, we have Lethal Tempo for the extra attack speed and range. We have Brutal because you auto attack a ton. Giant Slayer to counter the tanks, as well as Alacrity to attack even faster. And finally, you have Bone Plating just for the extra defensive capabilities. Now for the spells, you want to go for Flash, together with whatever you really need, right? Cleanse for against CC. Ghost is really good on Caitlyn as well. And then you of course have Barrier and Exhaust that are also decent options. So if you guys want to know more about that, of course check out the ADC Summoner Spell Guide. I'll put up in the cards above right now. But with all that said, now let's move on to talking about the gameplay. Okay, so let's take a look at the gameplay, but before we really get into it, of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and of course, I'll be sure to address them. So I'm rocking the Hit Hunter Caitlyn skin this game, which I actually got from the Easter egg smashing event, which there are a ton of better Caitlyn skins that I have, like the Commander Caitlyn and the Bell Academia Caitlyn, but I thought I'd just try this one out a little bit. So in the draft, I actually thought this was a pretty good game to pick Caitlyn, because I actually realized that there was, initially in the draft, I think I was like third pick on my team, if I'm not mistaken. By the way, guys, here we have my Lux AFK a little bit, so we actually have to pop the cleanse there because the Glacial was slowing me down a lot. I was taking a lot of free damage. So speaking of which, the champions I could see in the draft was basically Ryze, which got through the draft somehow, and then we also had Xayah as well as Thresh. So I thought this was a pretty good Caitlyn game because I had a Lux already picked, and Caitlyn Lux is a very strong combo. In addition, there was no real backline threat at that point in time, so Caitlyn does very well into teams that don't really have backline threat, because if Caitlyn is able to play front to back, she can make use of a very long range and basically blast people for free if no one can get on top of her. But lo and behold, Irelia and Rengar becomes their next two picks, which makes it a very hard game for me, because Rengar of course can just hop onto me. Same goes with Irelia, especially if they're flanking. Otherwise, it's also pretty easy for them to just get on top of me. So basically, this is gonna be a little bit of a tough game if they engage onto me. But aside from those two, the Thresh, Xayah, and Ryze should generally be okay if we play front to back, right? It's not going to be too big of a problem. So I'm going to be honest here, I have not played against Ryze in rank ever, because pretty much ever since Ryze release, he's been perma-banned in rank. So I've never seen him on the enemy team. I have not seen him on my team at all. So this is like my first encounter of Ryze in ranked. And I've played like a couple normal games on him myself, and I do think he is pretty strong. And there's a reason why he's permaban, right? Which is of course because he's really good, really strong in the current meta. So I'm not looking forward to having to deal with him here. Kha'Zix is it's a really amazing gank onto the Thresh, who was isolated in the bush trying to recall, and we're actually able to follow up with the Pilt over Peacemaker for the kill as Kha'Zix gets flayed away. So we actually managed to secure it. A little bit of a KS, but not really, because Kha'Zix would have had a little bit of trouble securing it. He probably would have had to flash because of the Glacial and the Flay. So we end up picking up the kill here, and our early kind of gameplay has kind of paid off, right? We've played somewhat aggressively, but not overly aggressively, because of course we can poke down Xayah pretty easily. We can also poke down Thresh very easily, but we do have to be very wary of the hook that could come from the Thresh. And that hook, of course, could ruin our day. If it hits, gets chain, and we get chain CC'd by his CC and even Xayah's CC, that probably would lead to instant death, which is also why I chose to take Cleanse this game, to kind of try to avoid that CC chain. So now back into the lane with my Lux. We of course haven't really been able to combo very much at all. So yeah, I mean, sometimes the Lux Caitlyn combos work out very well, but sometimes they just don't, so it's not too big of a deal. Here they actually managed to shove us in, which is actually completely fine, because it just puts them in a very vulnerable position for a gank, although Kha'Zix is on the opposite side of the map, but they probably don't know that. So here I'm just looking for some poke. We knew Thresh was going to hook there. Even if he hit that hook, we would have been fine. So no big deal. Hitting a lot of poke on Xayah. Xayah goes below half HP, has to probably go grab her fruit. And here Thresh flash flays as Rise is coming. And unfortunately here I saw the Rise ring around me, and I tried to flash, but I guess my flash was a bit too slow because I got rooted and then chain CC'd and just died. But yeah, the chain CC from the three of them is very rough. Rise there flashes away and gets healed by Thresh, but honestly I think he was fine. Like, I know Veigar had ultimate, but my team was not comboing him properly, so I don't really even think he needed to flash. I think he just walked away or at most popped his ghost. Right, and Thresh healed him as well, so honestly I think he was absolutely fine there, but having Rise flash down is of course going to be a good thing because objectives are just coming up. And because I wasn't actually able to flash away from that play, I actually now have my own flash up ready to use in the event of a fight at the dragon. So here Thresh is trying to re-enter the lane. Once again we knew he's going to hook, so here we're getting off a lot of free damage on him. He uses the lantern for a shield, and Kha'Zix is pinging that he wants to do the dragon. So here we're just using our spells on the wave and shoving out, comboing the Thresh a little bit here just to get a little bit of damage off. Xayah also taking quite a bit of damage, so we've gotten the enemy laners pretty chunked out. We can simply rotate to the dragon, easy secure on the dragon. We're not going to rotate back to the lane, pinging that we're on the way, so if Lux gets into a fight, we're going to be all good. Q barely missing the Xayah there. So let's talk a little bit about like just Caitlyn as a champion. We haven't really done that. But in my tier list, I actually rank Caitlyn pretty low as Xayah is trying her best to escape. I try to hit my Q ult here, so I hit the Q into the ult, and I'm surprised that she didn't die. She lives on like probably single digit HP there. Really unlucky. But if you guys actually saw my tier list, you will notice I actually rank Caitlyn pretty low. Like she's one of the lower tier ADCs, and the main reason why is that I think that she doesn't really have a very good niche at the current moment. Normally, she is kind of the champion you want to play. That's a really decent blind pick. But the kind of thing right now is that there are many other champions that are kind of okay to pick blind, like Varus, for example, who's still very strong. Probably the best ADC, especially since Silver got nerfed. And yeah, she's just not very good as like a hyper carry because there are better hyper carries. Even Jinx after the nerf is better. Of course you have the Zeri, the Kaisa and all that, and she just doesn't really do enough damage to just really be that good, right? So she doesn't really have a very good niche in my opinion, which is why I don't rank her very high. But in certain games where you can get to play with your range and you can get off a lot of free damage, you will be able to carry the game and do a ton of damage, and this is one of those examples of those games. So I say that because obviously I already know how the game turned out, so you can pay attention to how I'm able to get off my damage and stay safe at the same time. That's one of the trademarks of Caitlyn. Here huge engage comes in, but CC is split between myself and Lux, and the enemy team ends up messing it up. Two people die under tower, with Kha'Zix and Veigar also rotating. Here I'm trying to finish off the Xayah, which I do, but Rengar obviously has the ult on me already, so he trades 1 for 1. But in the grand scheme of things, he gets trapped in the cage. My team is going to be able to get him. So in the grand scheme of things, it's a 1 for 4 trade, which is a trade I take any day of the week. And we're already in a very decent spot prior to that play. We already had the Storm Razor completed as well as our boots, so we were on our 1 item power spike. Now my team is taking out the mid lane tower, so since Veigar and Kha'Zix are at top lane, I'm gonna actually go mid lane to cover the farm, right? There's no reason for me to go top lane because number one, the tower's just been taken down. Number two, I had to fight Veigar for farm. Number three, these minions here would have died to the tower. So Veigar here should not have actually come mid lane. He should have just recalled after he took the tower. I guess he wanted to try to make a play on Ryze, but what really happens here is that now we're just fighting for minions, which is just not very good. Right, so now I'm rotating back to top since Veigar is taking over mid once again. Of course, enemy team can see me from this control ward, so they're probably not going to commit too heavily. Here, Kha'Zix is now in the area, and they shouldn't see him because of the lack of control ward. Ryze getting a little bit caught out in the river, but is able to just just phase rush his way away.
Ally slain.
And now a fight is kind of breaking out in the river, so yeah, Ryze teleport goes behind the Veigar. Veigar has nowhere to go, gets trapped in between everybody and dies. We're gonna back off from the tower because with 4 men, they can very easily dive us under the tower. So here you can see I'm trying to maintain my distance. Now Darius is now coming in. He's running all the way in. We're just going to use him as our front line. He actually hooks Xayah over the wall, forces Xayah to flash. Irelia whiffs the ulti and just getting off whatever damage we can. And a Nemesis duel triggers between Kha'Zix and Rengar, which you rarely see Nemesis duels nowadays, but here it is. So ideally, I guess we should help Kha'Zix kill Rengar, or at least prevent him from dying to Rengar to kind of get the bonuses, which I can't even remember what the bonuses are anymore. But here you can see Kha'Zix is completely getting caught out. We're trying to cover fire for him so that he can get out, which he does. Dragon is 20 seconds away from spawning, and that's going to be the next objective we are going to play for. So before we do that, of course, we gotta push out the waves. First, Kha'Zix is on the wrong side of the map, so it doesn't really look like we're gonna be doing the dragon. Rengar is also on the wrong side of the map, so we're gonna back and get Blaster. Now, a huge fight is breaking out. We're not taking the Hex Gate because I think it's a little bit risky to just Hex Gate onto the Vision, so I'm just gonna walk there manually, and I actually ult the wrong person there. Should have been ulting the Thresh, but most likely someone would have blocked for him anyway, so it's not too big of a deal. So now Rengar is doing the dragon, and Veigar is backing, Darius is dead, so I'm thinking this dragon is gone, no real reason to go there, enemy team is going to take the dragon. In the meanwhile, I'm going to just take the red buff and take the mid lane farm. So here, very aggressive Ryze ultimate there. Ryze is ghosting everything coming for me. I'm just going to net myself away and yeah, just stay out of range of his CC. One thing about Ryze is his CC is very short range, so he has to come really close. So here you can see I'm trying to use my max range to try to get off poke onto the enemies who are coming from the tower. Obviously this tower is dead, it's only like 70 health left. I'm just going to hit the first target, which happens to be the Thresh. Thresh is 1v1ing me basically, but he's not going to do very much. I'm just stacking my Lethal Tempo to full here, going for the Thresh next, slowing him down with the Stormrazor. Rengar out comes in, we're gonna just continue on blasting, Thresh ends up going down, Ryze now coming in. I thought he was gonna root me there, so I actually cleansed there predictively, but he actually launched his Q instead. He probably didn't have the E cooldown, or the W cooldown I should say, at that point, so it's kind of awkward. Now here there's a huge wave in bottom, and no one is taking it, so I'm gonna quickly run over here. Look at this wave, man, this wave is probably worth a kill. Or something like this, like a triple stacked wave, which you almost never see in Wild Rift. So huge gold injection there. We're gonna back and start to get our IE components. And now Baron is going to be spawning soon. Of course, that's the next objective to take note of. And here Ryze gets picked off right before the spawn of Baron. Irelia is pushing in the bottom lane. And since Baron is spawning as well, it's good that I'm on this side of the map just to be near-ish to the Baron. So here, you can see this is a little bit risky in a sense. I was checking the scoreboard before this. I'm taking a look. Irelia only has 1 completed item. I've like 2 3/4 of an item. I think I should be fine, which is why I went close to the wave. Because if Irelia is like even or ahead of you, the moment you go close to the wave, she can use the wave to just dash through and then dash on top of you, and then you're just gonna die to her. So I made sure to check that she's not fed before I actually go in. I'm actually almost double her goal. So if she manages to kill me with half of my goal, I mean, something's wrong with the game. So not saying that there isn't, but yeah, So now with a couple more picks onto the Irelia and the Thresh, now pings for Baron are coming up. But the issue is that Kha'Zix is dead, right? And Rengar is not. So here we can actually start it up if Kha'Zix comes. But my Darius, who's the one that needs the tank, is not doing it. And here Ryze TP's in straight into the Veigar cage. 1 HP, we ult him and he pops the stasis, but Rengar actually blocked for him anyway. And somehow the Nemesis duel has ended. I'm not sure why. I guess none of them were involved in killing each other for a long enough time that the duel just got cancelled. I'm not sure. I'm not too sure about the Nemesis duel mechanics, but yeah, that's what happened, and everybody just basically dies on the Baron. Xayah is getting super duper fed, getting into the carry mode. Yeah, Xayah is becoming a problem for our team. Rengar is already a huge problem before this, and yeah. So now they're doing the Baron. Obviously, only Darius is left alive. Darius cannot stop 4 people from doing the Baron, so Baron's gonna go to the enemy team.
The enemy team has slain Baron Nashor.
So here, Veigar goes with a huge top wave. I can't get there, so I'm gonna go ahead and farm the jungle instead. One of the things about the game is that you always want to try to find places where your teammates are not farming to farm, because the more people fight over the same farm, the less gold everybody gets, right? So you gotta try to find places to farm, which is basically part of the game, right? Sometimes it just do be like that. So here the last dragon is coming up. It's not sold for either team, so it's not overly important. But we do have the IE completion, so we're not on 3 items, and so is Xayah actually. But Xayah doesn't actually have IE. She decided to go for Mole Reminder instead. So I think at this point, despite the fact that we're slightly behind the Xayah and we're even in items, I actually think we're stronger than Xayah at the moment, because IE gives you a lot more damage compared to Mole Reminder. Mole Reminder gives you very little AD, doesn't give you that boost to crit, but it helps you, of course, with the tanks, right? In my case, this team is not particularly tanky. We only really have Darius who's kind of tanky. The rest of us are not really. Here Irelia goes on top of me. She barely does any damage. And here we really need to finish off the Xayah. We pop the Irelia. First, Xayah gets caught in the cage. We're going to flash over, finish the kill on her. Ensure she cannot do anything to the rest of my team. Then we are going to go ahead and clear this wave. Of course, the enemy team has Baron, so all their waves are going to be pushing in. Honestly, the dragon doesn't really matter. I can just give them the dragon. I don't mind that at all. I'd rather just go collect all of these waves and all of these gold. And here at this point, I'm thinking I need a stasis for the Rengar. Right, so I grabbed myself the stasis. I mean, honestly, if Irelia becomes fed or like gets back into the game in some way, it could be useful for her as well. But honestly, at this point, I think if Irelia jumps in on us 1v1, I think we kill her, because we're like 3.5 items and she's like 1.5 items. So yeah, we shouldn't. Irelia shouldn't be a problem in this game. It should really be Rengar and Xayah that are the 2 main problems. I mean, honestly, Ryze. He is going to scale very well, right? He has his first 2 items completed already. Of course, Rod of Ages is scaling. Seraph's has been evolved, and he's about to complete Death Cap. So he's going to hit that 3 item spike where he's going to start becoming strong. So we got to really take note of that as well. TP from Ryze comes in. The cage comes out from the Veigar. I'm going to pop the stasis because I don't want to get one shot by Irelia and Ryze. Ryze now finds himself in no man's land. We popped the ult just for damage. We were initially going to recall here, but Rengar joins the fight, so I decided to go and help my team because I'm thinking that this is probably going to be a huge fight, and Xayah turns up to the party as well. So here, thankfully, I decided to come help my team. We are able to get rid of the Rengar. Xayah is trying her best here, but gets the kill on Darius, but uses everything already, so we're able to finish off the kill onto her at really low HP. Now Thresh is the only one left alive for the enemy team. Kha'Zix is defending against him, and myself and Lux can now go and push the bottom lane. Now I'm actually really close to getting my Mole Reminder, so I just need a couple more minions, which Lux is stealing, and maybe a couple jungle camps or something like that. So you can see I actually popped the recall instantly. I realized I'm really close, so I hopped the wall, trying to look for some jungle camps. I don't want to do the blue buff, so I'm not actually checking the blue buff. But now the issue is that Baron is now up and we not yet have enough gold. So we're trying to rush this mid wave before Veigar can get there so we can just secure this last bit of gold just for item. There we go. We finally secured the last bit of gold. Now we're going to recall, but Veigar gets scared off and doesn't go for the next wave, which is a little bit awkward. But yeah, here we get more reminder, 100% crit now, really fed. We're actually the second most fed member of the game. Rengar is still more fed, and he has gone into half defensive already with that Spirit Visage for the extra healing on his W. Thankfully though, we don't do magic damage, so he doesn't really counter us directly with that, although healing of course counters everybody. Now Elder is coming up. Rengar gets caught by the Darius here. Now here I'm just blasting whoever is in my range, because typical ADC stuff, right? We're not going to be the ones diving the backline, we're just going to hit the closest target. Now Ryze ult is coming in, we're just putting some traps down. Huge Veigar cage stuns 4 people. I think that Ryze ult was in for the enemy team. And yeah, we killed all 4 of them. The only person who didn't take the ult, the Thresh, survives. And yeah, disaster for the enemy team. Yeah, I guess, you know, Ryze ult can screw your team over as well. So that Ryze ult went into the Veigar cage, and yeah, they just got obliterated by all of us. They all walked into the stun, and they all died. And we are able to pick up the Elder Dragon into the Baron, and this should be where we can push to end the game. So here, we just quickly clear the mid wave, and Kha'Zix just trolls it, and so does Darius for that matter. Why are we not doing the Baron? Thankfully, Darius decides to come over so that someone at least can tank the Baron. Like, you look at the damage Baron is doing to me and Veigar. And Kha'Zix, our jungler, decides just not to come for the Baron, because why would you want Baron, right? So we're able to thankfully secure it just barely without him. Look at the health. That Baron is one-shotting us. And we are going to pick up the Hex Drinker here. We're going to build into Maw as our last item. Of course, with the Ryze as a skilling threat, just getting a Maw is always going to be good. So here we get the team-wide buff share, and with Elder and with Baron, we should be able to just run it down mid and just end the game. The main thing we gotta look out for is Rengar one-shotting us. We do have stasis available, so we shouldn't be a victim to that. But you can see I'm just pinging for assistance. Like, let's just all walk down mid together. Like, Darius can push top if he wants, but the rest of us should just go mid and let's push together. So here, we're just going to use the range. You can see we're just blasting people from range. Irelia gets caught in the cage. She flashes out, but flashes the wrong direction into me, and I'm just able to auto her for the kill. And then we're just going to take out this tower, and then push it onto the next tower. Darius is actually coming to join us from behind. And Lux gets comboed, not too important. We're just going to continue on blasting the tower. We get the tower, get the ward, and then, yeah, here, Kha'Zix loses his mind, jumps into the entire enemy team, gets obviously killed. We're going to finish off the Thresh with the help of the Elder. And at this point, we should have the game more or less won. Trying to kill Ryze, but the Seraph saves his life. Like, here I'm trying to kill Rengar before we end the game, because the game's already won at this point, but the game ends, and we're not able to kill him, but we are able to carry our team to a victory. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.